Good morning, everybody. Rubik's Master here with another War Commander video. In the video today, we're going to be focusing on a little bit of base defense and my strategy in it. We're going to be doing rifleman versus machine gunner because I got machine gunners unlocked. And we're going to be looking at the Reaper. The Reaper drone, I believe it is. You know, that's the one thing I haven't written down the stats for in my notebook. Yep, that's the Reaper. Okay. So, a couple little things first. The game has started running much more smoothly on my device. I don't know why, because an update hasn't come out. I haven't contacted tech support about it. But, it still freezes on loading on occasion, but I can usually get it running multiple times a day, whereas before, there were some days I just couldn't get it running. So that's cool. Second thing, on something that I think is kind of weird and doesn't bode well for this War Commander. The awesome thing about the old War Commander was that the most basic unit that you had at the very beginning, the rifleman, was never overshadowed by other units. Each unit always had its place. Even if you reached player rank 50, you could still use a particular unit for something. Whereas I went through earlier and clicked through all the units, and so look at this. So all the infantry units take up 20 space. They all, like, capacity is not used as a balancing tool really in this game between units. Because, so let's just take rifleman versus machine gunner. Let's get straight into this. My rifleman is level 3 and my machine gunner is level 1. And I am giving you the stats as such because you'll see how weird this is. Okay, so the rifleman, as I have him now, level 3, his damage per second is 87, his health is 500, plus a certain percentage for the equipment, but the machine gunner gets the exact same percentage bonus. Rifleman's speed is 45, range is 220, capacity is 20, but that's across the board for all infantry units. Alright, so yeah, that's for level 3. A level 1 machine gunner has a damage per second of 108, a speed of 40, which is 5 less than the rifleman, a range of 225, which is 5 more than the rifleman, and a capacity of 20. Yeah, whatever. And that's level 1. Level 1 versus level 3 rifleman. They take up the same space. Yes, the machine gunner is 5 speeds slower, which I don't know I haven't played this game enough to know exactly what those numbers mean. But I'll mess around with that a little bit in this video. But the range is also 5 more, so I mean, wouldn't that make up for the 5 slower moving speed? Doesn't really make sense. They both have the same strengths and weaknesses against units. And they both use the same equipment, which is where this gets even a little bit more broken. So, the equipment they have on is the HDPE inserts, which increase the unit's health 5% each level. This is how they get their health boosts, because leveling them up only increases their damage per second. So as you can see, the damage per second of a level 3 rifleman being 87 and a level 1 machine gunner being 108 is kind of ridiculous. The only place where it gets kind of balanced, and even here not really, is in their price. A rifleman costs 1,000 steel, whereas a machine gunner costs 10,000 steel. And that's a bit for a unit, for a single unit. That is a lot. Actually, I think that's my most expensive unit right now. Maybe the Rhino's more. I'm not sure. So we're gonna run a couple tests, see if there's something I'm missing, if one unit is seriously better for the other. And the reason I think this is not good for this game is it's kind of a stalemate kind of thing. So low levels have certain units and attack same levels with certain defenses. But when you level up, you upgrade your defenses. But you also unlock upgraded units. The machine gunner looks just like an upgraded rifleman. Like, why would you use a rifleman if, as long as you have the steel, you can replace them all with machine gunners? Why? You won't. So you're just going to use, and that trend goes all through all. So all infantry take up 20 space. Light vehicles is the only place where it varies up a little bit, but it doesn't if you look at it. So you have the PK, the Humvee, and I believe the Ontos are all like the machine gun, the anti-infantry kind of light vehicles, and they all take up 50 space. The rocket vehicles, the S-13 rocket buggy and Striker light tank, all take up 75 space. So there's that. All heavy vehicles, from the Rhino all the way up to... Okay, so you have the Rhino, Abrams, and Merkava as tanks, and the M270 and GMLRS as rocket launchers, but they all take up 100 space. You know what, let's check this out real quick. Okay, yeah, so those are more... Those aren't figurative tanks. So all your literal tanks, all your literal and figurative tanks, the Rhino, Abrams, and I just call it the IVM, and the IVM, all cost 100. Rhino costing 8,000 to build, so yeah, that machine gunner is the most expensive unit I have. Abrams doesn't tell me how much it costs to build because I can't right now. But I'm sure it's going to be ridiculously expensive. Anyway, that's just something I see that could be a potential issue with this game, is it'll get boring because you level up, you leave your old units behind, you pick up new units, and the difficulty doesn't really increase because you have more powerful units to deal with more powerful defenses. I just see this being a kind of cycle thing, but I'll power through it. That is one thing Kixeye has been really good with other games about introducing patches and making things just generally better to keep a customer base. But let's jump into an attack here. Let's look for a good demonstration base, which for me is going to be one where I can easily take out all the turrets and nothing else. So I'm looking for a low level, maybe 2 machine gun turrets and a mortar. 4 turrets if they're machine gun turrets. Maybe it'll work out. Son of a gun, I didn't put my machine gunner in my squad. No matter, that one's too crazy anyway. Alright. I need to get that Reaper information down and put it in my notebook. We'll take a peek at that real quick before we attack a base. Okay, so I'm going to take out that guy. Add in that guy. So as you can see, the air has a capacity of 350, but you can only have 2 kinds of air vehicles. And that's not whatever platoon you only... Wait, no, that is on... Okay. So each platoon can have a group of air. That's going to be pretty cool. Oh, real quick before we set out, I also unlocked defenders. So, you know what? I'll discuss that after the attack, because that's going to go into my base defense layout. So I equip that. Oh, we were going to look at the Reaper before we headed out, because we're going to be using it as well. I can't look at it because I clicked on the wrong thing. Warfare. No, let's look at the airfield. I thought I could look at this through my army, but I guess not. Okay, Reaper. Cost 4,000, pretty cheap. Damage per second 105, health 250, speed 150, range 200, capacity used 50. Very bad against helicopters. It can hit a helicopter though. That's kind of weird. Anyway, very weak against helicopter, very weak against infantry, moderate against light vehicles. What you're going to use this thing for though is to swarm a building. Wait, what was its health? 250. Extremely weak. So yeah, they kept it true to the original game. The Reaper was also the first air unit you got in the original War Commander. And they were basically meant for suiciding. Alright, give me a nice base right off, please. Nope. I want to fight you. Don't want to fight you. You... Actually, you're going to work. You're going to work out great. Okay, because we're not trying to destroy the base anyway. So we'll just take out this one turret here, and then demo what we need to demo. Okay. Alright, so we got that metal. Let's make sure we don't have any enemy defenders incoming. We do not. Cool. You know, I screwed this up too because I don't have a single rifleman to try and demonstrate. I mean, we could probably remedy that if we just suicided this group into... Tower real quick. Come on. Shoot me. Come on. There we go. Alright. A little unorthodox, but we did it. So let's go ahead and select this guy and see what he does. Holy smokes. That's a weak building, but... So as you can see, the damage is actually decent. Let's compare that speed. That 5 speed difference. Okay, so only now is when you can start telling there's a little bit of a gap between them. That 5 speed difference in this game means nothing. Absolutely nothing. Yeah, 5 speed difference is nothing. Absolutely nothing. Okay. Let's hope that turret is far enough away that it won't hit this guy. Too bad there's not a building way out in the boonies I can hit. Oh well. We'll give it a go. Alright, so you can see how it targets. Oh, on that inner circle, it's probably going to be too close. Okay, so you can see the kind of damage it does. It's actually really good. The cool thing about it is it will almost always get that first shot off. And because of its low capacity, you can stuff a bunch in an air platoon, and if there's one really pesky turret, or if there's two turrets together and you only want to attack one with your land forces, you can select all your Reapers and suicide them in, and they'll take out that one tower, because you can see how much damage 2 passes did to that one refinery. So what you aren't able to see is when you call in an air unit, like that one, I don't know if the others are the same, but for the Reaper, you call it in, you have to target a building. You see the red circle targets that building. If the Reaper is not destroyed, and it destroys that building, the Reaper flies back out, and a waiting period appears until you can deploy that air unit again. I don't know exactly how long it is. From what I saw, it was probably between 15 and 30 seconds. Yeah, you can see between the infantry units, the rifleman and the machine gunner, the damage is almost the same. You can tell the machine gunner does a little bit more, but keep in mind the machine gunner is level 1, that one rifleman is level 3. So, like I said, as long as you have the steel to make machine gunners, why wouldn't you? I don't quite get it. Yeah, that's kind of dumb. I don't get it. Yeah, it was by choice. Okay, so on to base defense. My strategy has altered a little bit since I got to Command Center level 4, got a new turret, and on the revelation that... so in the old War Commander, you had to protect your resources. Like Clash of Clans, you had to integrate your resources into your base defense to stop them from being taken, because someone who really didn't care at all about whether they won or lost and just wanted resources would rush in, like say with Reapers, and just suicide, take out as many resource depots as they could, and leave, keep the resources, you get the victory. He's the real winner because he took your resources. The revelation to me that in this game you do not keep resources unless you get 70% destroyed, it's kind of altered how I've designed my base. Because on attacking other bases, I've found out that you can destroy every single building, and if you don't destroy at least one defense, you don't get that 70%. These turrets are valued very highly in that percentage. The turrets and the command center, I think, are the highest values. So, on my base defense, first off, I got the railgun. So the idea behind the railgun is it charges up and it hits one target, dealing a massive amount of damage. How much damage is that? $390 damage per second. But I don't know how many shots this fires. If it's like a 3-second charge up, that's a lot of damage. Okay, exit U. The range is a lot. When I say a lot, it looks like it's comparable to the machine gun turrets. Compared to the mortar, it is a little bit less. But only a little bit. Like probably the distance between this tower and that tower, a little bit. Okay, so the defense I have set up, I have... The theory I'm running is people attacking my base will most likely target this one first, or they will roll up inside of its range, so they will be near this turret, and will take out these. Either way, they have to get close, or just take a lot of damage. So I've positioned it in my mortar range to where people have to be within range of my mortar to attack my railgun, because the railgun should be the first target with S13s or whatever. Anyway, so the whole bubble of damage principle, I've positioned the turrets to where I believe I can deal the most damage per second to an attacker from any angle. The angle of this turret obviously being the weakest one, because maybe some longer ranged units can attack that turret while being out of range of my railgun, which is why I positioned both my minefields that I have right now. I can buy another one with my new level, which may go over here on this side. Haven't decided yet. Also incorporated into my defense, now that I have it, is a defending platoon, which is done through your barracks. Click on defenders. It costs, initially, I think it was 25,000 steel, maybe 28. And there was a little glitch when I bought it. It didn't give it to me right away. It took all my resources, but it still said I had to buy it. Kind of panicked a little bit, but went ahead, did my thing. Next time I logged in, it had gone through and I could put units into it. So Defender Platoon is actually pretty nice, 160 capacity with 3 different kinds of troops. The deal with this is if you add multiple units to one section, it increases. So, you put 1 rifleman in 1 second, 2 riflemen in 3 seconds. So it takes however long it takes 1 unit to deploy and multiplies it by 1.5. So if you add this one, it's going to say 5 seconds. And it keeps going up from there. Anyway. So I'm just going to... Let's do that. That's decent. I have room for 1 more, but I can't afford a rifleman right now, so whatever. Let's exit that. So the idea... Sorry about that. The idea is when the battle starts and they deploy units, a countdown starts on when these troops deploy, so you need to defend this building until said time when those troops deploy. I don't have that building in an optimal place for that right now, but with the limited amount of infantry I'm actually putting out, they don't do that much damage. Especially with the kinds of platoons people run at my level being mostly rhinos and S13s, which can decimate an entire platoon, no problem. So there is also defenders for the war factory, which is where you put in your vehicles, which is locked. Costs 55,000 to unlock. That is a lot. Though it appears that on my war factory defense, I can also put in air vehicles, which will be really nice considering that most people run rhinos and S13s and have limited anti-air capability unless they're running a PK. But that is in the future. Hopefully not the far future. So that's the theory on my base defense right now. I didn't give up. I just decided to try something different from trying to focus on using this rock as a defense point. Figured trying to focus on, or trying to generalize in a 360 pattern would be better with 4 turrets. Just my thought. Anyway, let me know what you think about it, if I can do anything better on it. I I designed this a while ago, and I've been waiting for somebody to attack me, but they haven't. I wanted some evidence, a couple attack replays to show that it worked or didn't work, what its strengths and weaknesses were, but didn't work out. I may show those later. Oh, I'm sorry, I misspoke. Not Command Center level 4, Command Center level 3. My apologies. So yeah, I think that's all I was going to do in this video. We discussed the rifleman versus the machine gunner, showed the Reaper and what it did, looked at the defense setup, defending platoons. I believe that is all. So until next time, have an awesome day.